I'm looking at what has happened with the Giants this week, and a couple thoughts come to mind. First and foremost, I don't care if they slipped and fell into this or whatever, but the whole idea of they don't have a rotation, this thing is Logan Webb and then a bunch of duct tape, injuries, openers, all of that. The emergence of just one player, look at how it has changed everything. Now, I don't know, and quite frankly at this point don't even care about, well, wait a minute, how is this sustained through a playoff run, right? Like, you still kind of short. You don't have a full fourth starter. Openers, are guys stretched out? Can Kyle Harrison go more than 5 unless it's a special night? Those are all questions that I would reserve for a different day. I look at it more like this. The Giants have a rotation. And they have a playoff rotation, which is normally based on 3 starters. Right. And there's absolutely no way that you can argue that the Giants don't now have at least 3 interesting starters that they can with full credibility. Well, put them into a playoff game as the starting pitcher.
Yes.
No?
I don't know about full credibility in terms of sample size. Kyle Harrison has looked amazing through 2 starts.
2 starts, yes.
So I wouldn't give him full credibility yet. The stuff is electric, and boy, he looked good the other night. He looked incredible, and Cobb was a bad route away from a no-hitter. I don't think it was a bad route, but it's a cheap way of saying that, maybe Yaz makes that play. I don't know if he does, if he was positioned better. There's a lot of ifs. Bottom line, Cobb threw a 1-hitter. He threw 131 was the number. So we'll see if he's a little bit sluggish coming back in his next turn. But yes, they don't have a rotation. They do have a playoff rotation because a rotation at the very least is 4. It's almost always 5, and they don't have that. But in a short series,
3.5.
In a playoff game, you do have 3. And you're right, Webb, Cobb, and Harrison, if they wind up in the wild card play-in situation, and, it's not so bad being the 6, by the way. If you're looking at where you would like to be, 4, 5, or 6, you'd rather be 6 than 5, and you might actually rather be 6 than 4, in my opinion, because you're playing an easier team.
Okay, why do you say that?
Because if you're 6, you play 3, and whoever 3 is going to be...
Well, that's going to be the 3rd division winner.
Correct, which is a team not as good as Philadelphia.
Well,
Philadelphia is the 3rd best team in the National League.
Okay.
They're going to be the 4th seed.
Same exact record as Milwaukee. I know that it can absolutely be your opinion that Philadelphia is better. Milwaukee has been on an absolute white-hot streak. They are both 74 and 59. But here's the second part of that. If you win as the 6th seed, I actually don't even know. Do they reseed?
I don't think so.
So you would get the 2 seed rather than the 1 seed. And not that the Dodgers are any picnic by any stretch, but I would want to avoid the Braves. That lineup, to me, it's been a long time since I've seen anything like that. That lineup is absolutely stupid. The Atlanta Braves lineup, you sit down and watch a game and try, especially in the pitch clock era, where you can't, breathe for a second.
Right.
And you it's like you got 15 seconds to throw another pitch to Acuna. Okay, you get 15 seconds. Austin Riley's at the plate. And now it's Ozuna. And now it's Rosario. And I didn't even mention Olsen. It does not quit all the way up and down. And so, I don't know. I actually don't even know the rule on that, if they reseed or not. But if they don't, I agree with you.
I think only football reseeds, if memory serves. The NBA does not reseed.
I think you're right.
And it's hard to keep track of baseball with their ever-changing cockamamie postseason structure. But I don't think that they reseed. I think that 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5, and the winner of 4-5 plays 1, and the winner of 3-6 plays 2.
You are correct. I am now looking at MLB.com. The number 1 seed will face the winner of the 4 versus 5 series, and the number 2 seed will face the winner of the 3 versus 6.
Milwaukee, the 7th best record since the All-Star break. The Cubs, the 3rd best record since the break at 29-15.
Well, so big series coming up. That's where the Giants go next.
And the Cubs are knocking on Milwaukee's door. I think they're 2 back or 2.5. They're 2.5 back as we sit. So, I would rather play Milwaukee or the Cubs as opposed to Philadelphia. That's all I'm saying.
I think I can see the method to that. And again, you'd rather face the Dodgers than the Braves. I think for multiple reasons. One, I think the Braves are better than the Dodgers. The Dodgers certainly no slouch, but the Braves are better in my opinion. Number one, number two. That's fun. The Giants and the Dodgers in the playoffs.
Yeah, hopefully it's more fun this time than it was last time, which was the first time.
Sign me up for it, though.
For sure.
Yeah, I'd show up for that. Absolutely.
And the Dodgers obviously playing much better baseball since they did get better at the All-Star break, and they've got the best record in baseball since the break.
You didn't see Lance Lynn's last outing, did you?
It was a little rough.
Yeah.
A little rough.
You're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong.
32-12 since the break.
No, you're not wrong. And I was, although I don't know how much, like I'd have to dive in terms of how much you can attribute it to the actual acquisitions that were made by the Dodgers.
Yeah, I know Kike's been great.
Has he? I know Lynn has done well, not so much last time out.
Right.
But I, what kind of role is Kike playing every day? Or is he playing kind of a reserve role? He's clearly back in his comfort zone. I mean,
he's played 30 games since he got acquired.
How many at-bats?
He has been featured in 100 at-bats.
Okay.
So he's driven in 16 and 30. Batting average of 260. I don't have the full breakout numbers, but he's been a lot better than he was with Boston.
Oh, gosh. Not even close. Not even close.
He's got an 836 OPS, which is really good.
That's very good.
Yeah.
That's very good. So that's fair. And here's what I would say, though. I got a different question than just statements about the Giants and the playoff situation. I understand the NFL is what runs this darn world, okay? This sports world that we live in. I totally get it. But I also, I wonder why it feels like this. And when I say this, here's what I mean, and here's what I'm questioning. And I actually would love to hear from some Giants fans, 888-957-9570. They're only 70-64. They're not an overwhelming great team. None of that is true. Here's what they are today. Today is Friday, September 1st. They're a playoff team. So why doesn't it feel like that? And I don't mean because look at them, they're not very good. No, why don't you feel like that? I born here, raised here, this team in my blood from the beginning. This does not feel like a playoff race feels. It is September freaking 1st.
Man.
It's September.
It's my parents' anniversary.
Oh, happy anniversary to your folks.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Would have been 62.
Well, that's a lot.
Would have been a good run. Yeah, they'd both
How many years you got? A lot.
They'd be both deep into the 80s.
Yes,
but September 1st always will have a special place in my heart.
I love that.
Not only for the stretch drive, but the anniversary. Your words are spot on. And look no further than the attendance in the Cincinnati series, 25, 26, and 24 and a half. The fans in general, Sir Spill-A-Lot, are not that galvanized by the very thing you're talking about. They went into the Cincinnati series needing something. Not only did you win the series, you got a freakish near no-hitter and the arrival of the future in an electrifying I strike out everyone performance, and yet the fan base gave it a collective
Well, you don't know those things are coming until they happen. Yes, they beat the Braves Sunday night, but that was 6 consecutive series that they had lost. And so I don't think fans were very inspired coming out of that series, and I get it. But they do win Sunday. Then they take 2 out of 3, and they open up with a runaway win last night in San Diego. And the Padres, my God, you want to talk about underachievers. Like, what a joke. You know what I mean? If you're mad as a Giants fan, I give you a minute, taste what it's like to be a Mets or a Padres fan this year. What an absolute wreck and a joke what the players and management have done with those two organizations this year. That's the kind of stuff that if I'm a fan, I get really ticked off. Those are the fans that have a right to be mad. This fan base, you can be frustrated. You can not like the brand of ball. You can claim boredom. I get all that. But it is September 1. There are no more starts to the month until we get to the month where the playoffs happen. September 1 is always a special day in baseball. The rosters expand. You can bring people up. Brandon Crawford has been reinstated, and Keaton Wynn is active and ready to roll, Dibs. So get yourselves ready.
Get excited.
Because here come
Keaton
the
Wynn.
reinforcements. But you know what I'm talking about.
Nothing pumps your nads like a Keaton Wynn call-up.
All right, take it easy. But it's September 1.
I know.
And they are in the offs.
Sure.
So
what you're saying is not wrong.
And there is already an achievement in that, because I know what whenever we have this conversation and it's June or it's July, oh, Mark, okay, Captain Positive, call me in September. Well, I'm calling.
Yeah. And you're getting sent a voicemail.
And they're still in the playoffs. So all the Johnny come, well, they're not really going to make it, Mr. Shiny Day. Well, here we are. This is it. You got 30 days
Kenny
to race.
Loggins.
And the schedule's not as hard this month as it was last month.
Right.
Yeah, you got a whole lot of Dodgers at the end, but this is much more manageable, and Kyle Harrison is now up, and you got a 30-day sprint to the finish line to get in the playoffs, and I don't need to tell a Giants fan what can happen when you sneak in.
Yeah. And
so where is the feel?
Well, there are no feels. And there are a number of reasons why there are no feels. And one of them is the expanded baseball format that allows 6 of 15 to get in. And of the 15 National League teams, there are 9 of the 15 that are in the race. And I draw the line before you get to the Padres. The Padres are 8.5 out in the card. I'm not counting them in. The Nationals are the same. The Mets, Pirates, Cardinals, and Rockies, I'm not doing it. Okay, mathematically, and I love facts and I love math. I'm not doing that.
I agree with you.
I'm giving you everybody from the Marlins heading north. You got 6 teams that are fighting for 3 spots. So because of that, the dumbing down of the playoff format, it's harder to get excited about a stretch run because it feels like as long as the Giants play pretty well, if they play as well as they have all year, which it's been fine, to use your word, they've been fine.
Yeah, no, I get.
They played 134 games, and their run differential is +8.
Yeah.
That's the epitome of mediocrity, but that's enough to get it done in the National League.
Well, I don't even know if I'd use the word mediocrity. I understand if this team does not get you all excited. Watching their lineup is not like watching the Braves lineup. It's not like watching the Dodger lineup. But 70 and 64, while not great, is also 70 and 64. To me, that's above average, especially because you talk about the 6 teams that are in it. Well, they are one of the ones who have one of the spots right now. The Marlins, to me, are also even questionable as to whether or not they've got an invitation to the party. I know they're 3 games back, and that's not ridiculous, but they are 500.
Sure.
To me, I'm not going to take you seriously if you don't have more wins than losses.
One of 3 teams to score fewer runs than the Giants in the National League.
Yeah.
And that's part of what you were saying, and I agree with you in terms of why aren't people more excited? This offense is flaccid.
No, they don't score enough runs. Who on earth could debate that? They don't score enough runs.
Miami and Pittsburgh and the Rockies by 1 are the only teams to score fewer than the Giants.
Can I try to grab something on the internet here?
Sure. Is it another Tiger Attacks Kid video?
2000.
Because that was cool.
No, 2010 National League standings. I would like.
This is live Googlage. This is exciting.
Here's why.
Coming up next, we watch paint dry.
Well, see, no, the Giants won this division at 92 and 70, but what I can't find on these particular standings, give me a few minutes and I'll find it. I wonder how many runs they scored that year, because that was the height of torture. That was the height of Matt Cain, a nickname. Being caned meant that you went out there and gave up 1 run. And your team didn't score, and you lost 1-0.
They scored 697 runs.
697 runs.
Yes, in 162 or so games.
Yeah, which was It's actually third in the division.
4.3. Yeah, they were just.
I mean, they scored fewer runs than the Diamondbacks, who were in last place that year. They scored fewer runs than the Rockies, who were in third place that year. Now, both of those teams play in absolutely ridiculous offensive ballparks. But if you look at them up and down the National League, they were middle of the pack.
They scored 4.30 runs a game. This year, they're scoring 4.33 runs a game. So this team is just slightly less flaccid than the 2010 team. The 2010 team, they were just below league average that year in terms of the offense, but that's a part of it, especially in this pitch clock era where things go a lot faster.
Yeah.
They're packing less excitement into a faster game.
I guess what I'm getting at is if the Giants do get some starting pitching that feels like they did this week, as much as they don't score enough runs, they actually do. You can win like this.
Based on 2010,
yeah. You can win like this. You can win like this. And as
in the regular season, sure.
Yeah, well, they won in the playoffs that year too.
Right, but they did have a lot of timely hits and a lot of timely at-bats.
That's what it takes.
To go along with great pitching.
And they had an electric Game 1 starter, and maybe they do again.
The one thing in your corner in terms of the Giants in the playoffs is the fact that their schedule down the stretch, not very tough. I mean, the Padres should be a tough opponent, but I'm not saying that they've waved the white flag, but they've got the white flag ready for the waving. They are a mess. You have the Cubs, you have Arizona, and the Dodgers. That's it in terms of remaining daunting schedule.
Yep, they got 7 games against Colorado. They've got 3 games against the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah, who are now 6 under, and they're out of the race.
Yeah, that's what I said when they got to the start of the Red Series. I said it is go time, and they have won 3 of the first 4 this week. And I wonder, why doesn't it feel like a playoff push to so many people? Or maybe it does. Joe in Stockton. Hey, Joe, you're on Willard and Dibs.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
What's up, Joe? How you
What's up,
doing?
Joe?
Give you 3 for your own laugh. You've been better.
Oh, come on. No. But I wanted to say who I honestly... Now, I feel like a lot of people will probably think I'm crazy for this, but I want to see the Giants play a team because of one pitch.
And
if y'all understand that part, then you know. But I'll say it anyway. It's the Dodgers. Personally, I want them to because of one pitch. I want that payback.
Because of the pitch?
The Bellinger.
The Bellinger, or are you talking about the Wilmer Flores?
Posey.
Oh.
Okay.
2 years ago.
Yeah. Well, except for, are you talking about the one that went over the fence?
The one that was so far out of the zone.
Oh, well, okay. Joe, I got you. Thanks. I don't know, man. You know my take on that. I still think that baseball has to consider taking that stupid white box away from the television set because every time a ball is an inch outside, we all can see it, and we think that an umpire can see that at 100 miles an hour. Yes, hold them accountable if they are consistently bad, but I don't know. I would love to see the Dodgers because I would love to see the Dodgers. Yeah, I'd love to beat the Dodgers. It's not about one pitch. It's about them being the Dodgers. That'd be amazing if the Giants get a crack at them in the playoffs.
That would get people excited as well. And to have another California series, Giants v. Dodgers, and that would mean it would be in the second round as well.
Correct. And don't you think also the Giants, if Harrison looks like this for the next month and ends up in the playoffs in a spot where players still haven't seen him very much, don't you think the Giants could become the team that no one wants to face? They're not the best team, but if you have a 3-game series early in the playoffs and you've got to face him, maybe even if he does that for the rest of the month, maybe he gets game 1. Maybe he gets game 1 over Logan Webb.
I mean, I would say that's crazy talk, but when he's that electric, you don't want to save him for game 3 because there may not be one.
And if you're down 1-0, you are immediately up Schmitz Creek.
Look at you.
Okay?
Casey with a couple of hits the other night, huh?
He's over 200.
Am I right?
You are.